So then I start getting messages from people. They're like, yo, heard there's an OTV party tonight. And I was like, first of all, I'm not in OTV. We decide to have a little kickback at our Airbnb, okay? The plan was to invite 20 to 30 people over to our Airbnb, all right? And it was good because we found out there was lots of other parties going on, like a Baby No Money, Will Neff party. There was like OSCS party. And we're like, this is great. There's gonna be so many parties to go to that we'll just get our close friends coming by the Airbnb. Well, throughout the day, the RSVP goes from like 20 to 30. And then we buy enough snacks and drinks and stuff for that amount of people. And throughout the day, I just noticed the list getting bigger and bigger. And then I'm talking to my agents and they're like, hey, do you mind like if we, or I invite my agents, like, Clarissa and Emily, like my team. I was like, hey, do you guys want to come by? And then like, yeah. And they're like, do you mind if we bring a couple friends? I was like, sure. And I start adding them. And then I look at the list and the number hits 50. And I was like, 50? Wait. And I kind of have like a little panic in my voice. I'm like, 50 people. 50 is a lot. And I was like, yeah, it should be okay. I then messaged the group chat. I have a group chat with Ryan, Saikudo, Abe, Elam, and Peter, because we're all rooming together. I said, no more people are allowed to come to the party because my Airbnb rating is on the line. I value my Airbnb rating. I must have a good Airbnb rating because I always book Airbnbs. I always do. I make it a very good point to leave the Airbnb in perfect condition. I always read everything. And so I'm starting to panic over here because, this kickback has now turned into 50 people. And then from there, I start to see like more and more people. And then I'm like, hey guys, who's blank? And I'm not going to say the name, but it's like a streamer you guys would probably know. But like, who invited blank? Because like, I know you didn't, and I know you didn't, and I know I didn't. Then why are they on the invite list? And nobody invited them in the house. So I was like, so how did they get the link? And then from there, I see some more streamers that I'm like, okay, I know of you and I might be okay normally, but like, it's just like, I don't trust you with my Airbnb rating. It really came down to, do I trust you not to trash an Airbnb? Like, do you care about spills? Would you spill something and then not clean it up or not say anything? Would you step all over the carpets? Would you, anyways. I asked everybody and they're like, no, it wasn't me. So I was like, okay, somebody that we shared it with now shared it with somebody else. Okay. So then I start getting messages from people. They're like, yo, heard there's an OTV party tonight. And I was like, first of all, I'm not in OTV. Where's the OTV Ranger? Let me know. So then I started getting annoyed. I was like, please. It was funny. So then we just, so then I come up with an idea because my agent, she says to me, she goes, Leslie, you have security for this, right? And I was like, no, it's supposed to be a kickback. Why would I have security? Like, it's supposed to be like only close friends, And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, it'll be fine. And I was like, oh my gosh, should I have security? So what I decided to do is not actually get security, but I sent out a message, a text blast to everybody RSVP'd. And I said, hello, friends, excited to see you tonight. However, for full transparency, I'll just read the message. Okay, so I say, hi friends, excited to see everyone tonight for our kickback. Full transparency, this got a bit bigger than intended, so please do not bring anyone not approved on the RSVP. They will not be allowed in. Our security will be checking names at the door. Please be mindful of sound as the neighborhood is very quiet and Leslie values her Airbnb rating heavily. And then I put 5 stars. So no, there was no security, okay? But I figured... that people would believe me. And it's like, yeah. Oh, I guess I realized I referred to myself in third person, which is a little weird. But did it work? Like, not really. No, it didn't work. It didn't work. The first couple people who showed up, actually, like the first 10 people, actually, like besides, so it was like Lily, Aria, and then like the 10 people right after, like I'm pretty sure like 3 of them were on the RSVP list, but that's okay. Like it was people that like I was happy to see at the end of the day, like Buddha, not Buddha, sorry, Buddha was on the list, but it was like Omi. And I was like, oh, he didn't RSVP, but I'm not going to not let Omi in, you know? And then I was like, oh, well, you could come in. So my rule was just like pretend they're security and then just let everybody in. And luckily people were actually pretty cool about it. Everybody was like really respectful for the most part. But at the end of the day, 50 to 60 people, maybe 70, I don't know exactly how many, but about 50, 60 people were there. And the neighbors did come to the door, and then they said, can you at least close your windows? Because it's loud. And we're like, yeah, we'll close the windows. So we close the windows. And as the night goes on, it's actually not too bad, but it did end pretty late, around like 4:30 a.m. The last people were there, and we're finally like escorting everyone out, like, okay, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for coming. And I go to bed, and then I wake up to a text from the property manager. And it was like, hey, give me a call when you wake up. Give me a call back. I was like, frick. So I go downstairs to the Airbnb. I'm pacing. I'm looking at the mess. I'm like moving cups around, doing like literally nothing. I'll take like a plastic cup, dump the water out, rinse it, put it in the sink, walk to the other side. I'm just pacing, like doing literally nothing. And I'm like, hi there. Like I'm practicing out loud. Like, how am I going to do this? And my heart's like, doom, 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 doom. I was like, I just got to do it. Rip the Band-Aid. And then it's like, hello, this is your property manager. And then I was like, hi there, this is Leslie. I'm the one who booked the Airbnb. And then the guy goes, hi, Leslie, can you tell me what happened last night? And I was like, shit. And I was like, yes, hi. So what had happened was, it was really supposed to be a small thing, you know, just a couple friends over. And then, well, the invite got kind of leaked around and I didn't know how to contain it. And so there were about 50 people in the house. And he goes, 50? That's a lot of people. And I was like, yes, it is. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. And he said, listen, Leslie, like you cannot be having parties. And I was like, I understand. It was never meant to be a party. And he's like, you should have just called me when it got out of hand and I could have helped you. And I was like, I know. I'm so sorry about that. And he's like, neighbors are sending me videos of lines of Ubers. And I was like, oh God. Just down the street. And I was like, I didn't know that. And I'm so sorry. I just kept apologizing. And he's like, all right, well, listen, of all my concerns, it is what it is. But 50 people with shoes on is my number one concern because, you know, the floors. And I said, luckily, and then I said, I come from an Asian household and we had a strict no shoe policy. And he's like, oh, really? And I was like, actually, yes. And we actually did. We actually had a no shoe policy. And when you walked in, there were so many shoes like stacked. And I think the social pressure of taking your shoes off was really high. Like you would be that guy if you left your shoes on. So there was like, but yeah, we actually had a no shoe policy. And during the party, I sort of regret the no shoe policy because I was definitely next to a couple people who should have kept their shoes on, if you know what I'm saying. But I was regretting it during it. I was like, oh dear Lord, please. But I don't regret it. I don't regret the no shoe policy at the end of the day because there was no stains, no nothing. It was actually really clean. Anyway, so then he's like, all right, well, thank you. And he's like, my goal is that the homeowners don't find out. And I was like, they won't find out. There will be no more people in here besides the 6 people that are on the reservation. And he's like, all right, thank you so much. Anyways, guys, I have to break it to you. I did get a 5-star rating at the end of it. I hired cleaners that day. And then we cleaned the place up and I read my review today and we gave each other mutual 5 stars. Woo! I know. No, it was actually smart too. Cause then like, yeah, we like my brother came over and Blau came over and a bunch of people, like we were like, just like scrubbing floor stains, trash, everything yesterday morning, leaving the place like perfect. And then taking the trash out and we were like taking video to make sure that, you know, everything was good and they couldn't be like, oh, what about this carpet stain or whatever. The stuff was already there.